I reserved the hotel kitchen, till dawn, what we cooked instead of alibis. I didn't rent the kitchen to make dinner. I rented it because stainless steel doesn't lie. At 11:39 p.m. my phone lit up with a message that had all the right nouns and the wrong weather. Donor dinner turned into a late tasting. Might crash at the office. Don't wait up. My wife has a talent for grammar and mercy. She also has a neck that votes when the calendar abstains. The man who makes the room tilt in that direction has a name I do not enjoy saying out loud. Luca. He is the kind of chef who can stand near married women and make them feel safer rather than seen. Which is worse, depending on the hour. I walked to the Calder from our apartment with the kind of anger that pretends to be fitness. The night was rehearsing rain. The downtown glass had started to believe its own story again. At the service elevator, I showed the text from the manager who owes me for a Sunday last year when I helped him rebuild a line while the health inspector waited in the lobby. Kitchen's yours after midnight, it said. No judgments after 2. Don't break the salamander. I took the elevator down to the bright room where burners are better citizens than people, and hung my jacket on the hook by the office door like a man preparing to speak politely to fire. The Calder's kitchen is church under fluorescent. Steel, order, useful heat. The night porter nodded to me with the respect decent men keep for other men who show up not to steal. I turned down 2 lines, left one on low like a promise, and set 3 plates on the pass like an argument with a prayer attached. If she came down, the room would tell the truth. If she didn't, the burners would count for me. She came down at 12:07, hair pinned up in the shape of a decision. Luca opened the door for her and did the decent thing. He didn't cross the threshold. He looked at me, not afraid, not sorry, just aware, and said, "The kitchen is his," to her, and the salamander is temperamental, to me. Then he left with the careful speed of a man who intends to stay employable. "Evan," she said, in the voice she uses when the microphone needs to believe her, "you reserved a kitchen." "I wanted a room that answers when I ask it," I said. "Also the salamander and I have paperwork." She laughed because my jokes are the one part of us that kept their original warranty. She walked to the sink, washed her hands the way people who respect heat always do, and leaned on the stainless counter like she'd earned it. The overhead's bleached eyebrows and sins. "Did you kiss him?" I asked, not as a gavel but as a man who had spent the last year mistaking competence for permission. "In an elevator," she said, "2 weeks ago between floors and good advice. It was quick and stupid and tasted like mint and sleep debt. He stepped back. He said my name like a lock. I hated him a little for it. I wanted to hit him," I said. The Hood fans accepted the confession without applause. "You wanted to hit the part of me that forgot to invite you," she said. "I can hate that part of me for you. You can save your hands." I plated something small I pretend is food when I need to buy time. Toasted bread with ricotta and a fig Luca would have chosen. A drizzle that tasted like a decision not to show off. I slid it across. She ate with the seriousness I fell in love with. We are good eaters. It's one of the reasons we haven't ruined each other. "I didn't come down for a tasting," she said. "I came down because I wanted you to find me before my neck hired the wrong electrician." "Then let me do my job," I said. "Let me show you a heat that isn't auditioning." I set a pan on low and let butter remember who it is. I cranked the salamander 2 notches below crisis. I sliced garlic thin enough to make grandmothers forgive me and watched oil learn how to speak. Sienna. Yes, I'm switching back to her real name because kitchens prefer the names people yell when oil jumps, stood at my elbow and breathed with me. I tipped the pan, threw in the shrimp like a handful of red punctuation, and let them curl their way to a better sentence. "This is erotic," she said. "It's dinner," I said, and I kept our clothes on. We ate leaning against the rail because stools felt like church pews. When her mouth went soft the way it does after butter, I moved my hand to her waist and pulled her in like I was tired of auditioning as a gentleman. She let me and kissed me with the kind of accuracy you can't fake. My other hand found the back of her neck and pressed my thumb into the small notch where I have been storing evidence since the apartment with the cracked tile and the air mattress that never gave up. She made the soft sound that has gotten me through funerals. "Invite me when you're interesting," I said into the place below her ear the city doesn't know about. "Not just when you're frightened you'll be easier to love in other lighting." "Stay next to me when I'm interesting," she said, breath hot against my cheek. "Stand where I stand when I make a room do what I want. Keep your hands on me in daylight." We didn't undress. We didn't need to. We let the heat we had paid for do what it was built to do. I pressed her against the pantry door and kissed her the way you do when you're done practicing being reasonable. She grabbed the front of my shirt and taught it humility. The salamander hissed like a witness who knows how to take notes quietly. When we stepped back, her hair had made its own case. We were guilty of nothing we could not afford. "Do you still want to hit him?" she asked, smoothing a button I had undercharged. "I want to thank him for stepping back," I said. "I want to owe him nothing else." "That sounds like you," she said. "It also sounds like a recipe." We did dishes because kitchens demand penance even from lovers. We dried at the pass the way married people do when they decide to be on the same side of the counter. I handed her a pan. She handed me a towel. We didn't make metaphors. We didn't need to. Steam fogged the stainless and left fingerprints where heat and admission had shaken hands. At 9 the next morning, we were at the community center counting fixtures instead of excuses. Luca was there with a bandaged knuckle and a list. He nodded at me like a man who enjoys continuing to have a job. I nodded back like a man who intends to hire competence without renting his marriage. Sienna moved through the room with her mouth arranged to make volunteers believe in themselves. She brushed my wrist in passing, daylight legal, and the morning decided to obey. We never told anyone about the salamander. We taped the manager's text to the side of the fridge under the magnet shaped like a small, stupid boat we bought the summer we didn't ruin. When the house tries to audition for courtroom, we drive to the hotel and ask if the kitchen is quiet. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Either way, the stainless tells the truth at a volume we can survive. We didn't stop admiring other people's competence. We did stop confusing it with permission. Heat is a temperature, not a verdict. We eat before we try to win. We sleep when the clock loses its manners. We put our hands on each other in daylight as if the sun issues licenses. And when the city asks if we have anything to add, we say not tonight. We're cooking. We're choosing. This pan and this mouth and this hour are enough.